Dan Shugart is an icon in Northwest Florida.
Dan Shugart is the legend, especially when it comes to local sports.
If there's a sporting event that's happened in Northwest Florida in the past 50 years, Shugart has not only been there, he's been a part of it in a significant way. People loved Dan because he did such a marvelous job of covering and showcasing local sports, athletes, coaches, and more. He can't just stop at a score. He's got to tell you the history of the player, the history of the coach, the history of the team. Years ago, I was involved in high school sports, announcing games, things like that. And after any given game, people would get out of their seats and rush out. They were going to get home to quote, "We've got to see Dan."
When you talk to the greats, they can tell you about Dan Shugart and the impact that he has had on their lives. He knows their character, he knows them, and more importantly, they know him.
Shugart is part of Northwest Florida, and it goes beyond sports. He treats people with respect and kindness, things you don't often see, especially now.
People don't know about Dan Shugart, the Little League coach. Dan Shugart, coaching inner city children. The Dan Shugart who paid the rent because a family was being evicted. I know those stories. And I don't know those stories because Dan Shugart told me, because somebody else did. That's the Dan Shugart that a lot of people don't know. But I've had the privilege and pleasure of knowing for so many years.
Thank you, Dan, for your decades of community service here in the Pensacola area, and a special thanks for all you've done in terms of coverage for events at Five Flag Speedway. We could not be more proud to have you as our Grand Marshal for this year's running of the 57th Annual Snowball Derby.